Good evening. Evening for me in Laramie, Wyoming. About to take off. I'm gonna go ahead and head over there. Looks like I can park on the street at this place in Salt Lake. Sorry, drink some water. See if I can get out of this madhouse. People just park wherever they want to in this place, man. It's crazy. Let me get out and check something real quick and then we'll be on our way. Alright, let's blow this fire trap. These people just park everywhere, man. Not gonna run you over, dude. I might run this guy over. No, I'm not gonna run anybody over. This guy pulled in and pulled right back out. This guy right here. Mississippi plates. Maybe they didn't have any possum stew or something. I don't know. Maybe he saw the chaos and said, nope, not today. Dang the sun. And it's setting in the west, and I'm going west. It won't be setting for, I mean, it's almost going down. Man, it's warm for, I know I've been saying that last few videos, but it's true. This is crazy for Wyoming in December, middle of December now. I don't know where that truck to my left's going, trying to make that left turn, but we've got the green light, so I know he doesn't have the arrow. He's probably got the green light too, but he's got to wait. The I-80. So yeah, that was 34 hours in Wyoming, in Laramie, Wyoming. Didn't do much of nothing. Went to the Walmart, stuff like that. Rearranged some tools in my toolbox and my side box, or actually all three of my toolboxes. A couple other things here and there. You gotta be careful on this road, man, because you got a lot of these California trucks. A lot of these guys have absolutely no idea what they're doing. None. And they will kill you. Graveyard dead. Say, like there's any other kind of death. occurrence on 80. Now you can take old Highway 30. We used to do that back in the day. Kind of that way you didn't have to go over Elk Mountain. That's the problem. Here's the problem with Wyoming. People complain about I-80 on Wyoming. This stretch between here and Rollins is the worst. And the reason why is because when they built I-80, right? Look at these guys. See these guys? They got that truck parking block. You know why? One of them damn wind farms is coming. I guarantee you. And they're going to take up that entire truck parking lot. And they're going to block it off for themselves. Sorry, I was just thinking about. I saw that. I'm like, you guys are a-holes, man. Class A a-holes. But anyway, get back to what I was saying. I'm weaving, you know, as some people would say. When they built I-80, they didn't build it down like where the old highway is. They built it up high, up here on this plateau. So it catches all the wind, all the weather. That's why it used to be back in the day, if 80 was closed, the old highway was at 30, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment, but I believe it's US 30. It would be open. So a lot of times we jump down there on 30 and run. And there'd be no problems because it sits down in that valley. So it doesn't catch all the wind and all the weather. You don't have those ground blizzards and stuff like you do up here. But when they built I-80, in their infinite wisdom, they built it up here on this plateau. So it catches everything. It's a bad design. They should have never built the interstate up here. Never. But it's here, and it's not going anywhere. But there's really no reason for this to be as bad as it is. And they got snow fences everywhere, but they do no, I don't know. I'm not going to say they do no good. I don't know what it would be like if they didn't have the snow fences, but it doesn't seem to do much. I guess it would be even worse if they didn't have it. You can't keep any speed because you're constantly going up, it seems like. Here I'm going down, but look, you're constantly going. Look at this idiot in this Cybertruck from Texas even. That thing's not even, there's not enough of a truck there to call it a truck. But whatever. This is America. Everybody has a right to drive what they want. Anyway, it's just a bad place where they put this road. And that's why, like I say, it catches all the wind, all the snow, all everything. It just seems weird going across Wyoming in December and there's no snow anywhere. I always said Wyoming is like the Arctic Circle of the lower 48. Normally it is. I mean, it's always a constant barrage of bad weather, winter weather. It never seems to stop. These people in these cars love to use it as a racetrack. Get themselves in trouble. shot in Australia, man, 2 gunmen, and now one guy tackled the one gunman. That was wild. Of course, guns are illegal in Australia, so I don't know how. Well, I'll shut up. I'll shut up. Shooting at Brown University in Rhode Island. I don't know much about the suspect there. There's a lot of hate in the world, man. And I can rail against, the system, and I can rail against certain people, and we can all rant and rave about things that we don't like, and we can talk about things we do like, and it is what it is. But there's a certain segment of people on the planet that seem hell-bent on the destruction of other people for whatever reason, be it religious, political, race. You got all of the Nigerian Christians being murdered in Nigeria. No one wants to talk about. It's just terrible, man. It just really is. It's awful. But I don't know. What do you do? I mean, I have my own opinions, my own thoughts about things. Disagree, that's fine. There's an old saying that used to go, I may not agree with what you say, but I'll defend to my death your right to say it. We don't say that anymore. Now we say, you either agree with what I say or I will assassinate you. Or if you say anything I don't like, I will assassinate you. Or whatever, I'll kill you. What do we do about it? I don't know. I really don't. I wish I had an answer. But I don't. The four-wheeler merging on from nowhere. There's absolutely nothing at that exit. Maybe Liz around here. I complain about a lot of things, and I feel justifiably so, because I've seen a lot of wrong in this industry. There's been some right too, but there's a lot of wrong in it. And a lot of the wounds of the trucking industry are self-inflicted, or they're from government. And I still consider that a bit self-inflicted, because it's from government trying to say we're trying to make it better. But they're not making it better. They're making it worse. And they have been for years. And then when things don't get better, they say, oh, well, the problem is we don't have enough regulations. But it was the very regulations that made things worse. So their remedy is more regulations. Right? It's the definition of insanity. It really is. We put a bunch of needless regulations out there, and they didn't work, so let's put in more needless regulations. If we just put in enough regulation, it's like communism. It just hasn't been done right. If I do it, or if we just do it this way, it'll work. But it never does. But if we just keep trying, bro, it's not going to work. It never works. You can try it all day long. I've got this red Freightliner coming up behind me. I could almost bet you it's from California. I don't know. He's been out there in the left lane since he passed the truck way back there. He's bound and determined to hang out in that left lane until he passes me. It doesn't matter if he has to spend another 20 minutes out there in that lane. By God, he's going to do it. I love people like that. I'm being sarcastic. Anyway, you know, I've seen a lot of wrong in this industry, man. And people can say, oh, you're just complaining, or oh, you're just an old man. You don't know. I'm telling you, the way it used to be and the way it is, it does not have to be this way. A lot of it is overregulation. A lot of it is CDL mills pumping out guys who have no idea what they're doing. A lot of it is the H-1B visas, you know, just letting these people pour in from other countries who do not have the skills to be driving in the United States. It's a combination of things, but I'd say about 95 to 98% of the problems are from government regulation. The government's the one who opened the doors for these guys to come in. The government is the one who okayed these CDL mills because they work hand in hand with the mega carriers. The mega carriers want warm bodies in the trucks. That's all they want, warm bodies in the trucks. They'll pay them crap wages and just get the freight from A to B, and we'll just pay out on the insurance if we have too many accidents. They make so much money that they can afford to just pay for the accident rates or whatever their insurance rates are. I've often said the trucking industry, one of their problems is they don't have the lobbyists in Washington like the railroad. The railroad, you gotta understand, the railroad's been around since the 19th century. They're experts at having the government bend to their will. And I've talked about this before. You look at what happened in East Palestine, Ohio, right? That train derailment, all that toxic liquid. And then they caught it on fire. The railroads did, trying to get rid of it, and they just made it worse. The railroad's still in business. What is it? What was that? That was BNSF, I believe. They're still there. They're still there. Nobody got in trouble for that. And they won't. But if that was a trucking company, that company would be out of business. The government would have put them out of business. But the railroad has huge lobbyists in Washington. Now, I was a bit wrong. They do have some lobbyists in Washington talking about the trucking industry. It's the mega carriers and the ATA. They have lobbyists, and that's why these regulations get passed. Now, OIDA and people like that, they don't. They don't have enough. They don't have the power. Here he comes finally. And he's pulling an Amazon trailer. Well, I'm not surprised. Well, hurry up. I got one merging on. Some fly-by-night company. Well, crap. Hurry up, man. Well, this guy's got a long merge. You don't have to merge on right this second. This dude's been out in the left lane forever trying to get around me. Lights on, bro. It's getting dark. Anyway, that's who lobbies for us in Washington. The mega carriers and the ATA. Both of which do not have our best interest at heart. Neither one of them. No turn signal. That's whatever. built this interstate up high like this on this plateau, I'm sure because it's a more direct route. But sometimes a more direct route isn't always the best route. And I contend that they wouldn't have near as much problem on this road. This is one of the most dangerous interstates in the country. They wouldn't have near as much problem on this road if they would have built it down there where the old highway is. But I'm repeating myself. A lot of guys, when I was in Alaska and I was doing videos, I know a lot of you guys would be like, man, I can't believe they let the road get like that. And, they should fix the road and this and that. And I'm not disagreeing with you per se. I'm saying, they did the best they can considering where, you're at the top of the world. And, I mean, I think they did a pretty decent job. There was some times where I got frustrated with them when there was something that had been a stretch of road that had been bad for a long time. It's like, come on, guys, But considering where they were at, they didn't do a bad job. Not to mention the fact those guys are severely underpaid for the job they do. The Dalton Highway, man, you're keeping the most dangerous road in North America maintained as best as possible in the Arctic. It's not easy. So I give the guys, I give them a little grace. What I'm getting at is like this road here, it's a nice smooth interstate, nice smooth modern interstate highway. Should have 3 lanes on it, like most interstates should have 3 lanes on it, but that's a topic for another day. But still in all, considering the amount of freight that runs up and down this road, they keep it in pretty decent shape. It's just where they built it. And I'm assuming they started building this in the 50s. It's just not a good, it's just not. It's just not a great idea. And I'm sure at the time that a lot of locals say that, like, really? You're going to build that interstate over Elk Mountain? Really? All that wind and blowing snow and everything up there? Okay. Changing the tire. Robert, why don't you stop and help him? Well, he's putting lug nuts on, so I assume he's almost done. If he was like an old man or a woman or something, I probably would. Problem with Wyoming is one giant mountaintop. Everything is high elevation in Wyoming. The whole state. I like Wyoming, don't get me wrong. They got more cows than people. It's the least populated state in America. And there's a reason for that. It's a fairly harsh environment. As you can see, there's not much here. There are some popular spots like the Grand Teton Mountains and Jackson Hole, where there's a lot of people who go skiing and such in Jackson Hole. Over the mountains to the west. Of course, Yellowstone. Most of Yellowstone National Park is actually in Wyoming. So, like I said, I like Wyoming. Start pulling the hill. I got a feeling he's a bit lighter than I am. judging what he was doing back there on the hills. Mining in Wyoming. A lot of mines way out here in the middle of nowhere. Kind of reminds you of a cold Australia. I like Australia. Just don't like them big spiders they got. Ugh. Bro. I can't deal with that. I don't dig spiders, man. Spiders are not cool. We got tarantulas at the house. Luckily, I haven't seen any on the property. I've seen a couple of little camel spiders in town. They're not native to Texas. But, you know, we have a hot, dry climate, so they fit in real good. They come from the Middle East. I'm sure they got brought back after the war in Iraq. They're going to flourish in a place like West Texas or Arizona or California or something like that. They're small and they're technically not spiders. It's what they say, I don't know. We got vinegaroons, which I've seen one since I've moved to West Texas. The vinegaroon is sort of a half spider, half scorpion. It's just a evil looking thing. It's like something out of some, I don't know, Sinbad fantasy movie or something. And supposedly they spit acid. As if it wasn't bad enough that they're half spider and half scorpion. Two of probably the most evil insects on earth. But on top of that, they spit acid. So I kind of live in a mini Australia anyway. Because it seems like everything in West Texas will either kill you or it's just gross. You know, I don't know, man. A lot of snakes. Snakes don't really bother me. I mean, I show them respect. I give them the right of way. My wife has a pet snake, Buttercup. The grandkids named him. He's a boa constrictor, though. He's not very big. And they'll get so big depending on how much you feed them. My wife knows how to deal with snakes, so whatever. Somebody's camper top. Light blew off. Stop in Rock Springs and fuel up everything. Truck, reefer, DEF. I don't deal with that Loves in Salt Lake. If I gotta pick up something refrigerated there somewhere, I'll probably go over to that truck wash and wash the trailer out. I'll probably just go ahead and wash the truck too. Be done with it. As soon as I wash the truck, it'll decide to turn winter and it'll get filthy, but yeah, well. Pretty good breeze right here. Down in this little canyon here, this little valley. The wind's just whipping through here. Reefer's barely used any fuel since I left Iowa. Even sitting there for 34 hours. Set on 28, so. Wyoming is you're always fighting to keep speed up, man. Either the wind's slowing you down or the hills are slowing you down. Christ, man. I'm nowhere near the guy. Oh, man, hit the gas. This guy's going to sit here and fool around in the left lane. Do that, especially at the bottom of a hill. You're about to go up another hill, man. They want to just sit there and fool around in the left lane. You fool around, hit the gas. I don't want to have to back out of it right before I'm about to pull another hill. Do something I shouldn't do. I'm going to get over and let this four-wheeler go by that's on my back doors. Let's see if they're going to do it or if they're going to sit there and spend 5 minutes going around me before I pass this guy. Look like they're going to hit the gas. Good. Sometimes you try to be nice and it bites you. Dodge pickup again. I can't seem to get away from that guy. He doesn't seem to get away from me. And there's Old Bison. That's a big Canadian company. They got a lot of trucks. I heard a guy the other day somewhere talk about brakes, trailer brakes freezing in the winter. Of course, that was an ongoing thing that you had to think about in Alaska. And you got to think about it in certain parts of the lower 48, certain times of the year. Here's a little trick we used to do in Alaska. Like, if you were dropping a trailer somewhere at the yard or whatever, and it's minus 40 outside, say, we'd pull up. This is what I would do, especially if I was pulling a set, 2 trailers. I would pull up course, set the tractor brakes. Do my log thing, whatever, show post-trip or show dropping the trailers, whatever. Whatever little thing I had to do on my trip sheet, I'd do that. Then I would go ahead and get out. I would unhook the light cord between the trailers. And I'd go ahead and pull the pin on the fifth wheel of the converter dolly. Then I'd walk around the truck, make sure everything's cool, you know, whatever, like that. Waste as much time as I could. Then I'd get in the truck. Then I would set the trailer brakes. I'd try to wait at least 10 minutes. Let the brakes cool down. If you wait about 10 minutes, let the brakes cool down, and they're going to cool down quick when it's minus 40. Then set them. They won't freeze up. So then I would finally set them, get out, undo the air lines on the converter dolly, pull it out from the back trailer, and blah, blah, whatever. You know, do my thing from there. So that's just a trick, you know, if you're going to do a drop and hook somewhere, and it's, you know, below zero outside, you're afraid your brakes are going to freeze up. And look, if you're just dropping the trailer, maybe you're not worried about that. But maybe you've got to slide the axles back. So you got to set your trailer brakes. Well, just put it in a hole wherever you got to put it in to drop it. And then sit there for about 5-10 minutes. And then set the brakes. And then you can slide them and then roll it on back or whatever. And if you are dropping it, you know, excuse me, if you are dropping it, and you think, well, I'm just dropping it right here, I don't care. And it's going to be cold for a few days, and some other guys got to come pick that trailer up, or the yard guys. Let me tell you a little secret. These yard guys, they don't give a damn. You know what they're going to do? They're going to hook up to that empty trailer to put in the dock, and they're going to drag those trailer axles, they're going to drag those tires all the way to the dock. They do not, if you think they're going to crawl up under your trailer with a hammer and beat those brakes loose or get up under there with a torch, you're delusional. They're not going to do it. They're going to drag that trailer wherever they got to drag it to. That's what they're going to do. Here's that Amazon guy. Isn't that the guy that passed me? A red Freightliner. Stupid thing. That looks like him. That is him. See, this drives me insane too. Now he came around me back there. He was in such a hurry. Now there he sits going well below the speed limit. He passed me back there when I was doing 75. That drives me insane. Because they don't pay attention to their speed. Dear God in heaven. I'm down below 70, man. How slow are we going up here? Oh, for crying out loud. Dude, yeah, get out of the way, bro. Thank you. I gotta get the four-wheelers moving. Gotta get them to figure out that there's nobody in front of them. It takes them a minute to figure it out. There's that Dodge pickup up there again. Come on, guys, before he jumps back out there in front of us again. And I'm tired of hearing this thing go off. That right there makes me want to go back to Alaska. Here we go again. You see how far away I am. There's absolutely zero reason for this. It has nothing to do with safety. Absolutely nothing. It does make my anxiety go through the roof, though. Anyway, what was I talking? Oh, brakes, yeah. Besides, you know, it's it's nice for the next guy's got to pick that trailer. If it's going to be below zero for a few days, somebody else has to come pick that trailer up. It'd be nice if they don't have to lay up under there in the snow and beat on brakes. And believe me, I've laid up under the snow and beat on many a brakes. It's not fun, especially if they have dust covers on them. And then what really sucks is if the road's snowpacked and you think you got them all broke loose and it's dark and you look back there, yeah, they look like they're all turning, but you missed one. And you get down the road and you've done rubbed a set, a bare spot in a couple of tires. That really sucks. This Dodge van, there he is. This guy's really starting to irritate me. He needs to speed up a little bit. He gets ahead of me on the hills and then I catch back up to him. I really wish he'd speed up some. I like the fact he's trying to stay around the speed limit, stay around 75, but keeps getting in the way and slowing everybody else down. This guy on this hill. Globe Transportation. Join our team. We're hiring. No, thank you. I'm good. Thank you, have a nice day. Come again. Oh, he's got the eyeballs. He's got the lit up eyeballs on the windshield. A lot of guys are doing the eyeballs. I mean, whatever. When you first see me, like, yeah, that's cool. And then after a while, it's like, all right, man, it's over. Whatever happened to Bugman? Remember there used to be Bugman, you put them on your bug shield? All that stuff just disappears. Like, 1 minute it's cool, and everybody's doing it, although I never had a Bugman. But you used to have the wavy hand, too. Remember it was on a spring, so it would constantly wave? Then that disappeared. People would put in that little, you used to have that little window there in the passenger side door, there toward the bottom. That went away. And you had Bugman, and that went away. Now you got the eyeballs. And that'll be around for a minute, and then that'll go away. That Dodge pickup. Come on, man. Speed up, bro. Now he's not even doing the speed limit. Come on, dude. Hit the gas. I don't know what he's doing. Please hit the accelerator. It's not going quite slow enough for me to pass him. We're about to come up on this hill. Stuff like this, man. This right here will just irritate you to death. I'm going to have to try it. I'm going to have to do something. I'm not going to sit here and listen to that. These safety directors don't think about that because they don't have to live with this crap. I thought maybe he might have had California plates. I was going to say, because that would have been about right, but no, they're not California. anyway, you know, we get these fads. They come, they go. Back when I was, well, I was about to say back when I was driving. I'm still driving. Back when I used to go to California every week, California was hard on, like, you couldn't have any kind of blue lights or even like a blue bug shield, especially facing forward on your truck, because the CHP used blue lights. Now I see these guys with like blue marker lights, green marker lights. Like, how are y'all getting away with that? Holy crap, sorry guy, I didn't know this guy was crawling. This dude is absolutely crawling down the road. Holy crap, bro. You're gonna cause an accident. I'd have let that guy out if I'd have known that dude was going that slow. But yeah, you see these guys with these blue lights on their trucks now. I don't see how they're getting away with it, to be honest. It's not my business, man. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Hoping that I can park out there on the street at this place. It's on a dead-end street. So I said something about this in my last video I did earlier, so I'm not going to go on about it, but I thought about waiting and leaving about 11 o'clock tonight. That way I'd get there right about the time they open. But I just couldn't sit around any longer. So I'll do whatever I have to do tomorrow. I'm gonna pull down that street and hope I can park, because I don't have any choice. Dead end street. Once I get down there, I can't get out of there. Not until I get back in their dock. You know. There goes Super Ego. Anything about that company, Super Ego. Except that's kind of a strange name. I don't know, it's kind of stupid. Super Ego. It's one of those lease purchase things. Probably a foreign company. Down this hill. That's fast enough. I better hit the engine brake. I can hear the Karens now. Oh, you're doing 85. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You shouldn't be going that fast in a truck. That's dangerous. Man, we used to set the cruise on 85 back in the day. I mean, 85 was nothing, bro. Going across Nebraska or something. 85, yeah. Nebraska. I was doing a little over 85. He didn't give me a ticket. He told me, he said, look, man, if the speed limit is 75, we'll give you 5 over. We'll give you 80. He said, but, you know, keep it under 80. 80 or under. I said, okay. He was a nice guy. Here's California plates. Let's see what he's going to do. No, Washington. Man, that's just as bad. Washington, California, Illinois. Excuse me. You be sure and stay ahead of me. Anyway, yeah, Illinois, Georgia. There used to be a lot of those foreign guys who run Oklahoma plates. Well, a lot of people ran Oklahoma. They would register their trucks in Oklahoma because it was cheaper. The California trucks. Back years ago, you very, very rarely saw a truck with California plates on it. They may be based out of California, but they didn't have California plates. They usually had Oklahoma plates. They would get a P.O. box in Oklahoma City or something, and they'd put, you know, whatever, you know, Chino, California, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma on the side of the truck. They may have gotten fancy and bought like a drop lot out there or something, but they didn't really have anything out there. But it was cheaper to register the truck. Like we register our trucks in Kansas. Now we have an office in Kansas, even though the main office is in Colorado. All of our permits run through Kansas, and I imagine it's because it's cheaper. If I had to guess, I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, that's what I would say. It's probably cheaper. But we do have a legitimate terminal in Kansas, and that's where the owners are originally from. Well, the sun's going down. I guess I'll go ahead and end this video. Now, I may fire it up again when I get to Parley's Canyon in Utah. I know it's going to be dark, so I don't know. We'll see, but I don't know. We'll go ahead and end this one now. I appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, etc., all that, you know, whatever. Leave a comment. Tell me what a POS I am. That's fine. I'm good with that. I'm dead inside anyway, so it's not like it bothers me. So anyway, we'll see you next time.